It is the 18th of March 2014. Many thanks for joining us on Ebru Africa Primetime News. I'm Kamene Goro and we have a whole lot in store for you tonight. But first, the headlines. Post Crimea's decision. Russia's President Vladimir Putin says Crimea will now be a part of Russia. Ivory Coast politics. Main opposition party accuses President Alassane Ouattara of using a census to return to ethnic politics. Five-year Kenya corruption plan. Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission launched 5-year strategic plan that will see Kenya become a corruption-free society. In pursuit of MH370. China starts searching its territory for the missing plane, focusing on north and south of the plane's last known location. Let's jump straight into it. China has started searching its territory for the missing Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 as the international search intensifies. Now, efforts to find the aircraft are focusing on two vast air corridors north and south of the plane's last known location.
Chinese investigators are set to help Malaysia's government in the search for missing flight MH370. On Monday, French experts arrived to add their weight to the growing international hunt.
I don't think that there's any sense in starting a search in the sea as long as we have not located any debris, because the uncertainty zone for the moment is huge and there is no sense in starting searches under the sea when we don't have more precise idea of the plane's location.
Australia has taken charge of scouring the Indian Ocean as the search for the Malaysia Airlines Boeing widens. Prime Minister Tony Abbott said the measure was in response to a direct request from his Malaysian counterpart.
He asked that Australia take responsibility for the search in the southern vector, which the Malaysian authorities now think was one possible flight path for this ill-fated aircraft. I agreed that we would do so. I offered the Malaysian Prime Minister additional maritime surveillance resources, which he gratefully accepted.
On Sunday, India, one of up to 25 nations involved in the search for the missing plane, put its operations on hold while Malaysia reassesses the hunt, now into its second week. Flight MH370 vanished with 290 passengers and crew on board on March the 8th. A huge air and sea search has found no trace, and there's growing evidence that the plane's disappearance was carefully planned. Investigators are increasingly convinced the aircraft was deliberately steered way off its intended course by someone with enough knowledge to disable the plane's automatic tracking systems. Background checks are underway on all those on board the jet as the mystery of flight MH370 deepens by the day.
The European Union will next month host the 4th African Union Summit in Brussels. The summit, which will bring together the EU and African heads of state and government, is set to review the EU-Africa partnership.
The much-awaited 2014 summit will illustrate the existing ties between the African Union and the European Union.
And going beyond development, it seeks to establish a partnership among equals. Gone are the days that Europe spoke to Africa, and here are the days that Europe speaks with Africa. So a partnership among equals, determined to tackle together issues of common concern.
A According to the EU ambassador to Kenya, discussions on how to expand economic investments and trade will also feature. He also emphasized on the need to move from the donor and recipient relationship that has been in existence for some time now to trade partners.
But it also recognized that we should move from aid to trade. At the end of the day, to fight and eradicate poverty, it is trade that will do it. Development will remain important, but will play increasingly, as Africa grows, a secondary role.
The envoy cautioned against the misuse of donor funds, saying the union will not hesitate to withdraw support if there's evidence of misappropriation.
Moving to matters North Africa, at least 8 people were killed and several others injured in a series of car bombs in the eastern Libyan city of Benghazi. Now, the attack targeted soldiers leaving a graduation ceremony. More than a dozen people were reported to be wounded.
At least 8 are killed after several car bombs explode at a Libyan army academy in the eastern city of Benghazi Monday. Security officials say the first bomb exploded at the academy's front gate as people were leaving a graduation ceremony. 1 or 2 other bombs exploded at almost the same time, wounding at least 13 people. No group is claiming responsibility for the attacks in Benghazi, where Libyan armed forces have been battling militants from hardline Islamist groups. Most countries have closed their consulates in Benghazi, and some foreign airlines have stopped flying there since the U.S. ambassador and 3 other Americans were killed in an Islamist militant attack in September 2012.
Zooming in on Kenya, the body mandated to fight corruption in Kenya, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, has today launched a 5-year strategic plan that will see Kenya become a corrupt-free society. Now officiated by Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta, the launch comes as an accountability statement to the people of Kenya.
Standing tall as East Africa's economic powerhouse is a country that has for long been inflicted in a cycle of corruption. Kenya is, however, strengthening the fight against what the country's president compares to cancer. He vows it's time to win this war.
Corruption is to the economy and the nation at large what cancer is to the human body. It disgraces and debases a nation, and therefore we as a nation must agree that corruption must go.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is the body mandated to ensure the existence of a corruption-free Kenya. Today, they launched a 5-year strategic plan for the period 2013-2018. The Commission will pursue 3 strategic themes.
Corruption reduction, institutionalize ethics and good governance, and also establish an institutional and regulatory framework for the fight against corruption.
In formulating the present strategic plan, the Commission factored a comprehensive review of the previous strategic plan. The irony of fighting corruption in Kenya lies therein. Slow judicial processes and adverse court decisions which consequently stop investigations or the prosecution of cases by the Commission. That is, however, likely not to happen if Kenya's Attorney General's promises are anything to go by.
The fight against corruption cannot be won without an effective legal framework. To this end, my office is at the forefront of ensuring that we have the necessary laws and policy to strengthen the anti-corruption initiative.
The magnitude of the level of corruption in Kenya is best indicated by the amount of resources needed to fight it. Approximately 13 billion Kenya shillings to deal with corruption. Commission Chairperson Mumu Atemu thinks this will be Kenya's next epic victory.
It is the submission of EACC, Your Excellency, that Kenya is now pursuing a 4th liberation, and that is the liberation from the yokes of corruption and impunity.
The doubting Thomases and the naysayers can only be put at bay with the president leading from the front. The State House hosts a corruption reporting website.
It should go without saying that it is your responsibility as a Kenyan not to engage in corruption, and also to report to the relevant authority incidences of this vice.
As a directive from the President, a comprehensive national ethics and anti-corruption policy will be developed by the Office of the Attorney General by December this year. An inspiration from Martin Luther King Jr. is, however, a good place to start.
That if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets as well, so well, that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well.
The stakeholders in fighting corruption in Kenya all agree that this war remains by far one that will not be just won by having a 5-year strategic plan, but by implementing every word innate to the letter. Reporting for Ebru Africa News in Nairobi, Kenya, I'm Sam Gakunyi.
Moving back to North Africa, Gardaia city at the heart of Algeria has turned into a ghost town after the latest wave of sectarian violence that has left 3 people dead. The Oasis settlement, with its 90,000 inhabitants, was a scene of desolation on Monday morning, with the normally bustling market square empty and charred, with shop fronts bearing witness to the unrest that engulfed the area last week.
The Oasis settlement, with its 90,000 inhabitants, was a scene of desolation Monday morning. Businesses came to a standstill. Security forces patrolled the streets following the deployment of extra personnel, and after Algeria's newly appointed Premier Youssef Yousfi visited on Sunday in a bid to defuse the situation.
It's very well that the authorities have intervened now. It's true. But in the beginning, they didn't move. We have said it from the beginning that this situation will get worse. They let it go and we have fallen. Until now, it's a very deep wound.
The UNESCO World Heritage Site, at least 370 miles south of Algiers, has been rocked since December by clashes between the Chamba community of Arab origin and the majority Mozabites, indigenous Berbers belonging to the Ibadi Muslim sect. The latest violence erupted after hundreds of Mozabites who had fled during the initial unrest returned to their houses, only to find many of them destroyed.
Everything is lost. My refrigerators, my cupboards, all. Everything in my butcher shop.
3 young Chambers were killed on Saturday night in circumstances that remain unclear, and other 190 people wounded, according to medical sources, including 29 members of the security forces. 5 people were killed in the previous wave of violence between the rival communities between December and February. The 2 communities have coexisted for centuries, but limited economic opportunities, despite Algeria's vast oil and gas wealth, have aggravated social tensions. Trade has also been Gardaia's economic strength. According to some residents, for 30 years, tourism has flourished in Gardaia town due to the high demand for jewelry and carpets. Traditional villages also acted as tourist attraction sites.
In an unfortunate turn of events, a convoy of the African Union's AMISOM force was targeted by a car bomb outside the Somali capital, though according to witnesses, it was not immediately clear if there were any casualties.
The Al-Qaeda-linked group, the Al-Shabaab's spokesman, claimed the group carried out the attack, saying it killed 7 people, including 3 foreigners. The attack took place near a checkpoint on the road linking Mogadishu and the town of Afgoye. A Somali military official, Omar Adan, confirmed the attack, but declined to give the number of casualties. He, however, blamed the Al-Shabaab group, which have carried out several attacks in the Somali capital since the beginning of the year.
What they do and everything they say, including telling lies, is contrary to religion. They drink wine, smoke drugs in the worst way a human being can do. We have seen the places that they have raped girls and how they devastated the nation's buildings. They turned everything upside down. What people told us about them was very bad, and it's even worse that we have seen for ourselves.
On Saturday, a car bomb went off in central Mogadishu near a hotel popular with government officials and businessmen, injuring at least one person, though no claims were made for the attack. In February alone, major attacks in Mogadishu have included a car bomb at the gate of the airport, a major suicide attack on the presidential palace, and a car bombing on a cafe close to the intelligence headquarters. Hardline Al-Shabaab insurgents once controlled most of the southern and central Somalia, but withdrew from fixed positions in Mogadishu 2 years ago.
Still within the East African region, the 2007-2008 post-election violence was one of the most trying times for Kenya, as many families lost their loved ones and property. For some, things are back to normal, but for others, each day is a passing struggle, one filled with pain and sorrow. Our reporter Anna Takisa spent the day with 3 of the post-election violence victims and filed the following story.
Most victims of the post-election violence that rocked Kenya 6 years ago are yet to recover after losing their livelihood to looters. Some have, however, moved on and decided to rebuild their lives despite the odds. Meet Samuel Wakihuri, one of the victims of the post-election violence whose property was looted by people he knew after they were evicted from Katwekera village in Kibera slums. A mark on his left eyebrow serves as a painful reminder of what transpired 6 years ago.
It was reported that people from the Kikuyu and Kamba communities will be beaten up and evicted. My friend Kamwana and I were overheard speaking in Kikuyu and were attacked at around 10 p.m. We got help from people who knew us. They advised us to go seek refuge at Nairobi Showground. We had to heed to their advice as we had no other option.
Another victim, Ashim Yasin, was also forced to seek refuge at the showground where he met Samuel. A friendship developed and the two have been working together to restore their lives.
When the violence broke out, some communities became the subject of the attacks. People we had lived with for years became our enemies within a span of minutes and forced us out of our homes. They were carrying crude weapons. We had to seek refuge at the showground, but the saddest part is that they took everything we had and are living in our houses till date.
The two joined hands with 10 other victims and are now collecting plastic waste material for recycling. On a good day, each makes about 30 shillings.
This garbage collection business has really come through for us. On a good day, we make 400 shillings, which we divide among the 12 of us. We have to wake up by 5 a.m. so as to be at our workstation before the garbage collectors come to take the garbage. The money helps us to pay rent and also buy clothes and food.
Cost sharing has further cemented their friendship since each has to contribute to a common pool to pay rent from the 30 shillings they get after a day of hard work.
We have to wake up early in the morning. We collect garbage and sort them out and then sell the plastic. That's how we earn our living.
Even as the International Criminal Court continues to seek justice for the over 500,000 post-election violence victims, one question still remains. Will justice prevail? For Ebro Africa TV, I am Annette Akisa in Nairobi.
Kenya's Coalition for Reforms and Democracy leaders have defended Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula over a court ruling indicting him for voter bribery during last year's elections. Now, they say the ruling did not in any way affect his position as senator. Now, Wetangula recently dismissed media reports that suggested that he was not fit to hold public office.
The public should be informed that the verdict as read out on Friday, 14th of March, opens nothing new to the already closed petition. The petitioner won the case and the senatorial by-election was allowed in Bungoma County, where Senator Wetangula trounced all his rivals. That the merits and demerits of Senator Wetangula's eligibility to contest were thoroughly exhausted up to and categorical statement by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions exonerating the senator from any culpability in the alleged election offences based on evidence adduced.
Still within Kenyan politics, a section of members of parliament from the Jubilee coalition have dismissed claims by former Meru Governor Peter Munya that Kenya's Deputy President William Ruto is interfering with regional politics. Now, Munya, whose election was nullified by the Court of Appeal recently, had questioned Ruto's frequent visits to the county, saying he was playing politics.
I would like to urge the former governor of Meru to respect the presidency and respect the deputy president. Because through the trip, of which some of the meetings Munya himself attended, the deputy president never discussed the politics and the elections of Meru at any one point. It was all about development, it was all about the thanking the people of Greater Meru for electing a Jubilee government and urging them to have peace even during this time when we have the possibility of having elections in Meru again. So it is very, very important to actually put it clear that there is no one time politics of governorship of Meru featured anywhere in the deputy president's trip.
It needs to be clear to these glorified county council chairmen, or so-called governors, that we as members of parliament were elected as National Assembly leaders and we are not village elders. We therefore have every right to accompany the deputy president and the president to every corner of the Republic of Kenya, and they must respect both the president and the deputy president. There is a theme by them, a few of those very lost governors and former governors, to also try and create a wedge between His Excellency the President and the Deputy President. And we shall not allow them to create that wedge.
Ivory Coast's main opposition party has accused President Alassane Ouattara of using a census launched yesterday to boost his re-election chances, drawing warnings from the government of a return to ethnic politics. Now, this is the first census in 16 years, which is essential but potentially perilous for a country incapable of estimating its growing population.
Ivory Coast, the world's top cocoa grower, was initially due to account its inhabitants in 2008. Ethnic identity and disputes over who should be considered Ivorian were at the root of a decade of political turmoil that ended in 2008 with a brief post-election civil war.
The last census was in 1998, so it has been 16 years. It was important that we could update the statistics, but also to see a little bit about the division of the population across the country.
The Ivorian Popular Front, the FPI, of former President Laurent Gbagbo, said the government was recruiting at the census 30,000 agents along ethnic lines to pave way for the recent immigrants to vote in the presidential polls next year.
First, it was a waste of money. Secondly, it's a process of legitimizing exploration and exclusion of the part of Ivorian population. And thirdly, it's an operation to facilitate electoral fraud. None of that will calm the political stakes in Ivory Coast.
Planning and Development Minister Alberto Kesumabri, whose ministry is overseeing the census, said the process was completely separate.
We have introduced a few questions into the questionnaire that take into account data, including data identifying populations, and in particular the possibility that people have already been identified, and it will therefore accelerate the identification process and the research of the RGPH.
It is estimated that Ivory Coast's current population ranges from 22 to 25 million, but the government says it needs precise statistics to help guide its post-war development plan.
Russian President Vladimir Putin, defying Ukrainian protests and Western sanctions, today signed a treaty making Crimea part of Russia, but said that he did not plan to seize any other regions of Ukraine. Now, Putin lambasted the West for what he called hypocrisy, as Moscow residents said justice had been served after Crimeans decided to secede from Ukraine and join Russia in a referendum the West terms as unconstitutional.
Russians in the capital city Moscow Monday say they are happy with the outcome of a referendum on Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula, in which voters overwhelmingly chose to join Russia.
Yes, I think this is the right decision. It is a reunion. We are one nation. Our fathers and grandfathers went to war together. I think that this is the right decision 100%.
The peninsula on the Black Sea has a Russian-speaking majority and was part of Russia until it was gifted to Ukraine in 1954 by then-Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev. The West is denouncing the referendum and has slapped sanctions on some Russian and Ukrainian officials. The Kremlin says Russian President Vladimir Putin told U.S. President Barack Obama the referendum is legitimate.
It's legal. I support Putin. I'm for reuniting Russian borders and the reunion of the Russian people.
The Kremlin says Putin signed a decree Monday recognizing Ukraine's Crimea region as a sovereign state.
We finalize our bulletin in Afghanistan, where for years chicken, mutton or lamb has been the dish of choice for Afghans. Yet in Jalalabad, fish is becoming ever more popular, encouraging some of them to start their own fish farming businesses.
An aroma of barbecue and spices wafts down this Jalalabad street. Here, unlike anywhere else in Afghanistan, grilled fish is the speciality.
Our recipe: we add oil, spices, salt and lemon to these fish.
It may be popular, but most of the fish comes from Pakistan. Relative stability and better infrastructure has kept the price of Pakistani fish low. Yet some wonder why, after 13 years of Western activity in Afghanistan, the country is still unable to compete economically with its neighbors.
What has been done so far by the international community is not satisfactory. They have taught us how to eat fish, but not how to catch fish. So far, what we need, things like electricity, dams, subsidies for fish farms, nothing has been done.
There's plenty of fresh water in and around Jalalabad, and a group of local businessmen has launched its own fish farm. Ghulam went to train in India before some Pakistani know-how got these tanks up and running. He and his partners now farm trout, but turning a profit is still some way off.
We are not successful so far in this business. I personally work very hard. I've invested about $10,000 that I earned from my other businesses and spent it here. I'm hopeful that a time will come when I will have a successful business.
One of the main problems is security, or a lack of, which has scared off investors. And while Pakistan may be the benchmark locally, analysts are confident that Afghanistan can catch up.
It is like a business which requires very technical. With a small problem, all farms are washed out. The same like it's poultry business. It's a business that it's sustainable because it has huge demands in Afghanistan. It is sustainable because Afghan environment is suitable for fish farming.
Western troops will pull out of Afghanistan later this year, and by then Jalalabad's fish farmers hope that the situation will have improved, so that one day perhaps fish can take its place alongside chicken and lamb on the nation's menus.
That story wraps up our bulletin for you tonight. Up next, we have the weather forecast. Many thanks for your absolutely valued and scintillating company, and a special thanks to our new viewers all over the Nairobi region. I'm Kamene, Goro, and from the entire Ebru Africa team, do have yourself a splendid, blessed night.
New Line Limited, your one-stop shop for elegant and comfortable office furniture. New Line responds to your expectations for office furniture in a modern language. We offer a 5-year warranty period including unit transfers within Nairobi. For more information, visit our showroom at Chester House, Lotus Street, Nairobi. New Line Limited, your success partner.
Floma, professional makeup.
Does your exterior complement your interior? Everyone needs a home that is inspired by nature. At Yenbo Limited, we offer durable, energy-efficient and affordable UPVC windows in attractive colors. Visit us at Wall Street Business Park off Mombasa Road. Yenbo UPVC windows, your desire, our challenge.
New Line Limited, we offer current, stylish, state-of-the-art kitchen and wardrobe appliances tailored to suit your preference. We offer unit transfers within Nairobi. Let your kitchen stand out today by visiting us at Chester House, Lotus Street. Your comfort and satisfaction comes first.
Floma, professional makeup.